Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki. Here on Today in the News, we read and give in-depth analysis on some of the stories making waves across Nigeria. And this morning, I'm starting with Vanguard newspaper. Vanguard is leading with inflation battle. CBN raises interest rate to 26.25%. OPS protest. NPR hikes pose danger to economy. That's according to Nasima. NECA highlights a negative impact on investment and inflation. Additional burden for businesses, as according to CPPE. There is no magic wand. That's coming from Cardoso. You can see that on page 22. Minimum wage, Labour, federal government meeting ends in deadlock. Federal government's 54,000 naira offer is wage reduction. That's coming from Labour. No governor in attendance. Meeting to convene today. CDWR calls for mass actions. Reforms will eliminate waste. Corruption, that's according to Edu. You can see that story on page 10. On page 39, sports, Finidi, World Cup target keeps me on my toes. Stories above the banner on page 19. Petrol marketers fret as depot price rises to 710 naira per litre in Lagos. Government kill 40 burn houses in Plateau community. Vanguard 2024 Economic Discourse holds today. You can see that on page 19 of Vanguard newspaper. Now the Guardian is leading with MPC outcome. CBN guns for stable currencies. FPIs as rate hike out businesses. You can see that on page 6. On page 6 still, APC dismisses major talk as OP visit Labour Party secretariat. Again, Labour rejects 54,000 naira minimum wage proposal. Fresh nationwide strike looms in varsities over ASU's demand. Death penalty for drug traffickers not proving effective, says UNODC. You can see that on news page 4. Court quashes tenure extension for Rivers local government area chairman. Bandits kill 46 persons, raise homes in Plateau. Yobe, Benue, Anambra senators clash over farmers' elders crisis. Nigerian startups get 29.3% of Africa's $15 billion funding in 5 years. You can see that on business page 15. Now the Punch newspaper. Punch is leading with 26.25% interest rates. Private sector fears loan repayment crisis. Previous interest rate hikes killing businesses. 1.5 trillion naira bad loans may rise, as according to operators. Medical tourism spending falls by $5.24 million. That's coming from CBN. You can see that on page 2 and on page 14. I didn't start governing fully until this February. That's coming from Fubara. Police launch a manhunt for Ogun woman's abductor. Failed robbery. Lagos varsity student escaped death. You can see that on pages 4 and 5. Oyo Assembly approves Makinde's 10 billion naira loan request. Above the banner, we have a Reps panel to probe 40 presidential aircraft. Naira slide pushes Dangote diesel to 1,100 naira per litre. You can see that on page 29 of the Punch newspaper. And The Nation this morning is leading with Chetima. Governors' tough options prevented economic downfall. Petrol subsidy cut has impacted positively, says Yuguda. Ganduje list fits. You can see that on page 2. Experts differ with CBN over interest rate hike. Lending now attracts 26.25%. Apex Bank collaborating with fintechs to boost financial sector. State varsities for student loan. Court sacks monarch in Ondo after 29 years. Amzat, top government functionaries bid Lagos speaker's father by. You can see that on page 5. And above the banner, states lose battle over owed on council's fund. Fubara swears in commissioners cleared by 3 lawmakers. And lastly, on the Nation newspaper, minimum wage talk continue today after Labour rejects federal government's 54,000 naira offer. And that's all on the front pages of the dailies this morning. Join us after the break for the analysis. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Okushaki. Joining us to analyze the front pages of the day this morning is Mr. Gbero Lajigbe. He's the Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Good morning, Mr. Gbero.
Good morning. It's a pleasure being with you.
Yeah, same here. Now let's move straight to the front pages of the dailies. Some of the stories. The one leading Vanguard says members of the organized private sector and economists have expressed fear over the latest hike in the nation's benchmark interest monetary policy rate by the Monetary Policy Committee, saying that the decision could significantly hamper economic operators' ability to repay their loans. What do you think about this? Because the MPC, they raised the interest rate by 150 basis points to 26.25%. From the previous 24.74%.
Well, I have said this severally, but for the update time, let me state again that manipulation will not save our economy. All this, our problem is not about, you can't solve Nigerian economic problem through monetary policies alone. The fact and the critical part of this country now is that nothing is getting produced. Production is nil. And even the small-scale business persons have been driven out of the economy by astronomical cost of production. So, what interest rates hike can hand the country is a manipulated exchange rate, a manipulated sense of value, and the intrinsic value of Nigerian naira is nothing to write home about. Only production can heal it, and not manipulation through monetary policies that is not going anywhere, except that making the government look good as if they are doing something, and some people will begin to masturbate about it. Dollars have gone down, naira is rising. These are output of this so-called economic monetary policies that is not getting us out of the hook. The best thing for Nigeria, imagine a situation where a country called Nigeria could invest 90 billion naira that was used to support Hajj, that is not going to add to our economy. They use it to support the young people that have no job now. Imagine what that will, the spiral effect of that on our economy. We are not eating the right button. We are not doing the right thing. Naira will continue to fall as long as we don't produce anything. Even common fuel. Look at Dangote has been in operation, whether skeletally, I don't know, for almost 1 year now. To get barrel of fuel from Nigeria has been off wheel tax again, to the extent that the company is purportedly at the verge of importing importing crude oil from USA. How does that speak about your economy? So, without production, even if you are to start with that oil refining in Nigeria, that will have contributed to the killing of the hailing economy. So, all what we are seeing, all these policy taxations are mere manipulation that is not going to get anybody out of the hook that we are in. And don't forget that in spite of all these things, we continue to borrow, whether from IMF, from World Bank. We continue to seek a credit facility. One was written to the National Assembly last week, also to borrow money again. So these are cankerworms in our economy. Yet the cost of governance continue to go up. I have said it. The tribulation of Nigeria economy, I mean in the recent history, came as a result of inconsiderate policy of petroleum price hike, which was occasioned by the so-called removal of subsidy. So look at where we are today. Everybody, in fact, there is no Nigerian today now. Nothing is being paid on your money you put in bank. Aside from that, the intrinsic value of your money in the bank has been reduced by that policy. So where will the investment, the propensity to invest come from? All we have across Nigeria now is the propensity to consume. Everybody is just looking for what to eat now. Somebody ordinarily that should go and open shop before, his money could not even pay for rentage of shop now, only to use the money to eat. So that is the type of economy that has come out of this Tinubu's policy. It's economy that will ensure that government becomes so rich and the people become so poor. That is an indicator of non-growing economy. A growing economy is where you have rich people who are paying taxes to government. But today, it's poor people, conglomerates of poor people and their groups that are paying taxes to government, whether as market women on the street, trading, government pursuing them and collecting one tax or the other from them, and other things. How will such economy grow? Economic growth is not built and based on taxation without productivity, taxation without production. That is what this government is doing. And it's not helping the economy, as I've said. So the interest rate they are manipulating, jacking it up, will not even save the naira for a long time. The remedy for saving our naira and for saving our economy is in the capacity to produce and generate income and create condition for employment, particularly of the young one.
So, Mr. Borough,
that will not come with monetary policy.
Will this decision
not going to come with monetary policy?
Will this decision lead to a slowdown in investment and our expansions plan among businesses?
Frankly, that is what it will cost. Who will go to bank and borrow money at that exchange rate to produce under what economy? Could carry out what type of production under Nigeria economy? So those are the challenges we are having. Economy, how a country gets to the level of being an investable country and with investable environment is that, one, the propensity to consume is low and the propensity to save is high. Where there is low propensity to consume, high propensity to invest, to save, there will be high propensity to invest. That is the economic logic that makes sense. And not when you create a situation where even those who want to invest, particularly, I'm not talking of their so-called foreign investors, internal one, cannot access facility from the bank because of high interest rate, and at the same time, cannot be afforded the benefit of conducive environment that is being frustrated by various forms of taxes and of course non-performing power sectors that have crippled the capacity of companies to exist in the country and increase astronomically cost of production to the extent that most companies in Nigeria cannot competitively compete with others elsewhere. If for example, if Liver Brother, assuming Liver Brother has not gone out of the country, if close-up is being produced at the rate of 20 naira in Ghana, and you are producing it 100 naira here, won't Nigerian go for that of Ghana? How will that company in Nigeria survive it? Under the yoke of high interest rate and under the yoke of inclement, investable business environment that you have created through obnoxious policy. They are happy that they are getting more than 3 times what they were getting before. Are people happy about it? The government is about people, it's about their welfare and everything. Tinubu will be 1 year this year. One of the promises he made is that he's not going to borrow. He's going to look at what he's going to do. But he has obtained almost 3 credit facility within 1 year. And we are nowhere to even getting the economic started.
We are still talking about the government and the minimum wage negotiation meeting involving organized labor, the federal and state government and the organized private sector OPS yesterday ended in deadlock following labor's dismissal of the government 54,000 naira offer as expected. What's your take on this?
No, even reflect on yourself. What can 54,000 naira do in this economy? With an average worker in Nigeria, is it for transport? Or in his word, is it for Gary or is it for beans? Or is it for Ewa? in his own word, what can he buy? Can he buy a bag of rice or a bag of this thing? And this is what you expect people to eat for 30 days. The fact is that you can never have a robust economy without paying people appropriately, sufficiently, good enough for what they are contributing to the economy of the country. We will not be talking of this, how much the labor should be paid, the workers should be paid today, if not because of the unbearable conditions of living that you have imposed on Nigeria. Assuming that things are working, of course, any currency, when you say you want to pay 54,000, that means a lot in any currency for that matter. Whether it's dollar, whether it's pounds and everything, it makes sense. But does your own make sense in Naira that you have almost irredeemably destroyed by wrong choices of policy, wrong policy choices that you have made? So it is not, in the last conversation we had, I made mention to this. The government will not pay this. And economy cannot accommodate a lot of that claims core salary now. Because one, what will happen to those in private sector? Wage issue is law. And for those in the private sector workers to pay it. Pay the money. The alternative will be to come and create the pool of the unemployed people. And government is looking at increase NEPA. What do you let us increase petroleum because we will make more money. But what is the mean compared to the consequences in terms of anomaly, in terms of absolute lawlessness that characterize this economy called Nigeria today? To these urges and therefore not in place to crystallize what you call a wave that will lead to economic growth.
Mr. Goro, Labour leaders lamented the absence of state governors in the meeting to present their offers, as their head representative said they had no mandate. So, how critical is their involvement in this negotiation, and what might be the implication of their absence?
You know how many workers are in 36 states of the federation? Assuming that federal government is covering the space for Abuja or FCT. Do you know how many workers they have in their civil service and public service across the 36 states? So the involvement is critical to this. And what the governments are doing is that they will just look. They were not part. They wanted a plausible excuse after they have reached agreement to tell government that, of course, it is now they will remember that Nigeria is a federating unit, that Nigeria is a federal structure. They will never remember that when they are stealing together or demanding that every governor should be paid certain amount of salary and emolument. They never remember that. But now that is for the ordinary workers, they will remember that they can't pay what the government agree with you because they are not part of that negotiation. So to them, they are looking for a way of repudiating responsibility for payment of basic wage, the minimum wage that will emanate from this. Some of them, they in attempt to be faster than their leg, they are now 70,000. I think Lagos was one of them. Edo did the same thing, and possibly one other state. So now they are assertive of their federalistic character, which ordinarily under another thing that will benefit them. They will not remember that they should pay. The governor in Kano is receiving the same amount as the governor in a poor state of any other poor state of Niger or anyone receiving the same salary. Yet they want workers now. The Lagos, you can't compare Lagos with Niger. The cost of living is not the same. Do they remember that when it is their own salary? Sabotaging the effort, the little effort of the federal government to arrive at acceptable living wage. That is why they are not attending. So at the end of the day, they will wash off their hands that they are not paying. And of course, the problem continues. I don't foresee agreement on this minimum wage until maybe probably August. It's not going to happen this May, because even if it happens, the governor will reject it.
So
they will take
Mr. Boy, what implication will this have on the economy?
The implication is that there is no commitment. There is no Nigeria that is committed to work now. The implication is that people will be stealing. There is no civil servant, public servant that will survive this economy currently if they are not stealing. I'm telling you, it's so harsh. And of course, they will even be justifying that criminality by the fact that government is not fair to them. That is the implication, which is going to affect the society at large.
So how much do you think, you said 54,000 naira is too small, so how much should be the minimum wage?
Nothing is even worthy of being thought about Nigeria economy today. Today, you can buy 20,000 and tomorrow it becomes 80,000. So it doesn't, what I can say is that government, I have suggested a lot of things before. For example, I say that government should look at a way of petrol to 250 naira. That will translate it to reducing cost of production. And that means that, of course, if you have 2,000, what is the value of 220,000 before? So I can't just stability in our economy, but to help the government, I don't think that any worker in Nigeria should be paying less than 100,000 naira. I'm talking of less. That is that, and that is temporary. To now square up to the callings to stabilize our economy and bring down the cost of living and of cost of production, and that can only happen if we don't take wrong choices, whether in practice or in policy. Does it make sense that a country will be going through this and somebody will sit down and be churning out 90 billion to support Hajj or to support pilgrimage to Jerusalem, a secular state that is supposed not to be manifestly religious? Let us all turn to theocratic government so that we move from democracy to theocracy, and we know that our fare and this thing should be paid. What nonsense? Does it make economic sense that we behave like this and we want progress and development? Religion is a personal thing. The best the government can do for those that are going to Hajj is to make sure that their welfare are protected and negotiated with the host state, and they are taken care of, and nothing endanger the security or safety of any Nigerian, whether in Mecca or in Jerusalem. Those are the minimum thing government should do. And they do it not because of religious sentiment, but because of their citizenship. It is rubbish. Imagine 90 billion being given to 1,000 good farmers. I'm not talking of political farmers. At 1 million naira, 90,000 farmers. And if you don't want to produce something, and if you don't want to go to that, how many of our farmers have ever seen 1 million before? And yet they are contributing to the economy. Better a single farmer, the contribution of a single farmer is worthier than the contribution of the entire 108 senators in Nigeria that are not productive and not adding value to our economy. So we have critical problems that should be holistically looked at. All right. So the government is is reckless, is spending money anyhow, not reducing the cost of production and the cost of governance, then how will you pick up as an economy?
Mr. Boy, let's end it with Mr. and Mrs. this morning. And the first person speaking is Mr. Mr. says, the man is a member of board of directors. He smiled at you and gave you an envelope filled with money. Are you sure it's not a Greek gift? And Mrs. replied, Greek? No, it's American. The envelope contains American dollars.
That is it. That makes it more Greeky. So if it's American dollar, it makes it not a double of a Greek gift. I think we should be wary of what we collect today and now, and of course, I think we should look at how people are getting money, and I don't feel that there is a free gift and everything. There is a supposed money that was paid into my account of a work I've not done. I've reported that amount of money in my bank yesterday through First Bank that was paid through First Bank. The money was, I've not done the work. There's no construction agreement, and you pay the money into my account. Why should I take such money? So I've asked them to place man on that receiving that money for now. And then if they don't take action, I escalate. If the people involved, if they don't take action to arrive at a contract or this thing, that I report them as a responsible citizens to appropriate quota.
Mr. Agbero, we should call you the good citizen of Nigeria.
It's not every money you take.
Yeah.
And we have to question ourselves where we get to. And taking money, encouraging people to steal money is why we are where we are today. So let us think right and help our family. That could be the beginning of the end of that marriage if that money is not properly accounted for.
Thank you, Mr. Agbero, for joining us this morning. And Vanguard Annual Economic Summit is holding this Thursday. The Governor of Central Bank, CBN, Mr. Yemi Cardoso, is set to lead the discussion at the Thursday edition of the Vanguard Annual Economic Summit. This is coming at the backdrop of significant recovery recorded in the foreign exchange market following its landmark monetary policy and foreign exchange measures in the past 7 months. The Naira appreciated for the fourth consecutive closing at 1,260 per dollar in the parallel market yesterday, as against the 1,819 naira at the end of February 2024. Also, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, had earlier accepted to be the special guest of honor at the event scheduled for May 23, 2024 at Civic Center, Victoria Island, Lagos on Thursday. And of course, it's open for everybody to attend. And you can just make sure or visit our website to get more details, the location, and also the process, the registration process is definitely on the website. And that's